For those unfamiliar with the concept, I initially heard about classrooms in the afterlife from my friend Luana. As she was dying, one day she said, "I think when I die, I'm going to another galaxy." We had never talked about death openly. It was just a topic neither of us would discuss. But in this instant, she opened the door for me to ask, "Why do you think that?" She told me she had a recurring dream where she was in her classroom. Everyone was dressed in white and speaking a language she'd never heard before, but somehow completely understood. I thought, oh my, that must be from the morphine drip, which was helping her with her pain from cancer. But the day she passed, her close friend Sandra Stevenson called me from Hawaii and said, "I had the most wonderful dream about her last night. She was in the fourth dimension, and she was in a spiritual classroom where everyone was dressed in white." I asked the hospice nurse, Charmaine, about it, and she nearly fainted. That was her recurring dream, she said. I moved to New York City to work on the Charles Grodin Show with her good friend Charles, and while there, I had an out-of-body experience where I felt I went to see her. It was fairly dramatic, as I've had the experience of floating around the room in the past, but in this case, it was like a blast-off, where I left my bed in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, shot into deep space, tumbled through a wormhole, or black hole, and found myself traveling with great speed to suddenly screech to a halt, Luana standing in front of me. It was Luana as I knew her, but with her eyes closed. And then she opened them, as if to say, "You were wondering where I am. This is where I am." But at that moment, a truck driver outside the window hit his horn, and I had the experience of traveling back to New York, like the Charles Eames film, Towers of Ten, hurtling through deep space, back to Manhattan from above, to suddenly sitting up in my bed, all before the driver took his hand off the horn. It was as if she was saying, not only do I still exist, but this is where you can find me. And I thought, well, if she still exists somewhere on the planet or off universe, and she can come to visit me, how do I go and visit her? Some years later, when I began to research the topic of the flip side, I found an account in Michael Newton's book, Journey of Souls, where the person under deep hypnosis said, "I see myself in a classroom, and everyone is dressed in white." A chill went up my spine, and I knew if I was looking for her, that would be a method of how to find her. The first time I did a Between Life session, I went to visit 2 classrooms. The hypnotherapist, Jimmy Quast, said, "Where would you like to go?" I said, "To find my friends." The first classroom was fun, welcoming. The teacher seemed to know me well and introduced me to her young students. I had not consciously recognized this teacher, but she seemed to know me and praised me to her class, who were all turned in their seats in my direction, as if to say, "Oh, teacher's friend is here." However, as I later said in the book Flipside, I want to visit Luana's class, and when I arrived, I had the impression I was interrupting her class mid-lecture. A polar opposite of the journey to the first class. Imagine yourself sitting in a room with fellow students, and suddenly this hologram appears, saying, "Okay, I'm here, visiting a class in the afterlife." The students all turned to look at me as if they were not used to interruptions. And the teacher stopped his lecture, and everybody went silent. I shut up for a few seconds, and then I said, "I get the feeling I'm not supposed to be," I said to the hypnotherapist, "I get the feeling I'm not supposed to be here, but since I've come all this way, I might as well continue." And then I saw Luana sitting in the back of the classroom, looking at me as if saying, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I explained to the hypnotherapist, knowing I was filming the session, that this was a class in, quote, "accessing the healing light of the universe, and these students learn how to help healers, doctors, and others to connect to that energy to heal people on Earth." A sentence I don't think I could have crafted if I wanted to, but it sort of popped out of my mouth, and at which point one student turned in his seat and mockingly said, "You don't know what the hell you're talking about." I was startled. Obviously, I was interrupting them and not welcome. And I said to the hypnotherapist, "Okay, a student just turned and corrected me. What I meant to say is that people in this class learn how to help doctors and healers to access the healing light of the universe. However, not all people sign up for a lifetime where they will heal everyone. And likewise, people may sign up for a lifetime to experience an illness so they can learn from it." To which the student shrugged and said, Well, I guess you do know something after all.